Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Basketball PH podcast. Enjoy the show.
What is up, mga paps? Good day to everyone. Welcome to Fantasy Basketball PH, your Filipino brand of fantasy basketball. So, what we are going to do today is I'll be recording an English version of our weekly huddle. So, for everyone who doesn't know what our weekly huddle contains, is we're gonna talk about all the 30 teams in the NBA. So, imagine that all 30 teams. So, this is gonna be like plus or minus 1 hour. So just hold on tight, but I'll definitely promise you that this will be worth your time. So we're gonna talk about the trends, the outliers, ad drops. Probably majority of them are driven by what happened last trade deadline. So like what Papi Josh Lloyd has introduced earlier, but let's have some fun and start off with the Atlanta Hawks. Okay, so apparently John Collins is staying. So what does this imply? Basically, since Pierce went out of Atlanta, initially Gallinari was taking a lot of time. But in the past few games, John Collins has established his role and minutes in the power forward position. So I think this made Atlanta think twice about John Collins' value. Still, let's watch out in the offseason, but as of the moment, all John Collins owners should ride it out. Initially, I thought that we should like sell high on John Collins because Hunter is coming back, Gallo is getting minutes, but they're winning. So I guess they won't like quickly change their system as of the moment. Bogdanovic is taking a lot of the Hunter minutes and probably some Gallo minutes as well. So I would say John Collins should have a decent finish this season. So what about Sweet Lou, who was recently acquired by the Atlanta Hawks? I guess this is something that was like a shock to me, given that Atlanta is really someone or a team that wants to go to the playoffs, and that's how they value Rajon Rondo in the offseason. That's why they got him. But this trade somehow gives more room to other guards. But given that Sweet Lou is, let's say, more a little bit healthier or NBA relevant than Rondo, because Rondo is, well, not too older, but his game is kind of limited depending on the role compared to Sweet Lou, who can like play some two and some one. With Rondo just plays the one. Wherein we have Trey Young, who is usually is the captain in the playmaking chore. So I guess Sweet Lou might get some of minutes, especially those crunch time or especially those game wherein Atlanta somehow fails to score, or fails to execute. So I guess that's the value of Sweet Lou. Also, this is something of uh, like homecoming for Lou Williams to his city. So I guess it's like a retirement program for Lou Williams. So I mentioned earlier about Hunter. So what happens when Hunter plays? He's a revelation this season, so I'm still expecting a good finish for Hunter. But it really interests me on how would the rotation take place. Would he play more minutes off the bat? I don't think so because of his injury. Bogdanovic is starting to get it done. He's getting like 25 minutes to 30 minutes in the past game. So I expect that to like continue moving forward. So all Hunter owners, I guess he is some kind of a buy low. Buy the lowest as you can, given that he hasn't been playing. But I'm expecting a better game for him. Reddish is out, so he should have a path to continue what his brilliance in the past weeks before he got injured. So for me, it's a to buy as low as you can because he's injured. His owners might have get enticed with adding some of the hot free agents, so he might even get dropped. So watch out for that. For the Boston Celtics, well, don't Google Fournier. So Fournier is now a Celtic. They in the past deadline, one of the acquisition or main acquisition or only acquisition that Celtics did was Fournier. I don't know if this solves everything. They haven't done in anything in the buyout yet, but there's still Boogie. There's still other bigs that could be picked up. But as of the moment, Fournier is the main addition of the Celtics. So what does this do? The Tig is gone, Tyus is gone. So I believe we can recall how Fournier played back in Denver. Not the main man, sort of like someone that can provide scoring and playmaking off the bench. So he immediately takes Tig's minutes, probably Pritchard's too. And then I don't think he has any impact to Marcus Smart because Marcus Smart's value is mainly coming from snipes and defense. So that could still stick. So all of the core members of Celtics are definitely gonna stick. Maybe some minutes away from Kemba. So I was thinking that Fournier is somehow like an insurance for Kemba just in case something happened. Because when Kemba went down, Tig isn't doing anything. Richard is too young. So I guess that's probably the plan. So what happens to his value? Definitely it falls out because he was having a career season back in Orlando. He's getting all of the touches. He's getting the playmaking chores. He might do it still in Boston, but on a limited time. I don't think he will trump Jalen's role. I don't think he will trump, obviously, Tatum's role and Smart's role. So he's like the fourth, fifth guy in the pecking order. So, um, well, you have to wait and see first what would happen. I think he's still rosterable, but probably around what top 80ish to top 100, or maybe outside top 100. But he's still a good player. He's a great role player. So that's that. Time Lord Time Lord is unleashed. So I guess this is the best thing that happened in the back in the trade deadline. So finally, Time Lord will get the minutes that he can actually play. But I don't think it will go up like around 30 minutes. Just because Boston has been really cautious about Time Lord. Just he was an injury prone college player before. So that's one thing. And then he also got injured in the past season. So they are really easing him up, and I can't see a regular 30 minutes plus minutes for Time Lord moving forward, especially when Tristan Thompson gets healthy. But as good as Time Lord is, he doesn't need that much of a minute. He only needs what, like 28 minutes to like be a early round player. So all Time Lord owners should like rejoice. They haven't done any buyout acquisition yet. So Dieng is now with the Spurs. So I guess that's safe. And Drummond is will eventually sign with the Lakers. So we're just watching about the Marcus Cousins, maybe Whiteside, maybe other unknown bigs that would like do a buyout. So let's see. But I definitely think that they might do some moves more. It's just weird that Fournier is the only addition by the Celtics. And just really something. Brooklyn Nets. Wow. So Brooklyn went all in. They got LaMarcus Aldridge. So in the past episodes, I was explaining how teams would definitely go all in, especially that Anthony Davis is injured, Embiid is injured, LeBron is injured. So even KD is injured. So other teams aside from Brooklyn and those teams would definitely want to like try their luck because this is the most open path to championship yet in the since what I don't know because in the past seasons there are really strong teams that are almost locked in the top spot, but now they are still locked. But with the injury bugs, there's still chance. So that's the reason why I thought there will be a lot of trade acquisitions, big swings in this deadline. There still was, but I guess not all teams wanted that, but there's a lot of movement and a lot of changes. So we'll talk about it later. So going back to Lamarcus Aldridge, it's just weird that people are saying that Blake Griffin and Aldridge are washed out, and then now when they were acquired by Brooklyn Nets, they eventually they are called like the imbalanced team or the super team. Personally, I think we should always remember how Blake Griffin and Lamarcus Aldridge played in the past weeks when they were healthy back in Spurs and in Clippers. So the experience is still there. They're still great players, but I don't think their body could hold a lot of like minutes. It just so happened that Brooklyn doesn't need that. They only need Lamarcus Aldridge or Blake Griffin play what 20 minutes tops. So with that said, you might see a better version of Griffin and Aldrich. We've all already saw Griffin dunk. So I really think that Lamarcus Aldridge might uh, play the similar way how Griffin emerged when he was acquired in Brooklyn. So there are players that plays that way. They play better on a different scenery, on a much better coaching staff and probably players around. So it's sort of a feel good storyline for those players. So I guess probably Aldridge and Griffin are those kinds, especially that they really want to have a championship in their arsenal before they retire. So I'm expecting better, so that's quite different from expecting a lot. So in 20 minutes of Lamarcus Aldridge, he'll definitely play center. I don't think he can play PF much because he's slow. He can't actually jump. But he's been playing the center position back in the Spurs, so he should play center. So that takes away minutes from DeAndre Jordan. That takes away minutes. Probably, please, no for Claxton and as well as Blake Griffin. But while KD is away, I guess they can play more. I'm expecting both Griffin and Lamarcus Aldridge to play more just because Brooklyn wants to see what they have once they go to the finals. They need the team to mesh. They need them to clean up the rust. So I'm expecting that to happen in the next upcoming weeks. Going back to Nick Claxton, I think Nick Claxton is still the best player among Griffin and Lamarcus Aldridge. So this is the reason why I don't think this was a big acquisition like most people thinks, because there are a lot of players that is better than Lamarcus Aldridge and Blake Griffin now. I mean, Aaron Gordon, as much as I don't really like Aaron Gordon's play or what he offers, I still think he is better than Aldridge and Griffin as of the moment. So maybe the name of Aldridge as All Star and Griffin as All Stars are the one like influencing that staff of Brooklyn getting a lot of solid players that could immediately make them the number one team. They are already one of the number one team without Griffin and Lamarcus Aldridge. If they unleash Claxton, they'll definitely on top. So this might be a good thing or maybe a bad thing, but I think Snash is smart enough to give Nick Claxton more still like around 15 to 20 minutes because the kid got really he's got game. He's the future of the Brooklyn Nets. He is good in offense, and he's good in defense. He's got the energy, so I hope he sticks in the lineup even when KD comes back. Well, KD will come back like around 2 weeks from now, so that's the target date. I hope. I mean, Brooklyn will never let KD play less than 100%. So the moment he comes back, he'll definitely play 100% of himself. But expect back-to-back rest. So that's what I'm assuming for the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, for the Charlotte Hornets. On the other hand, our Rookie of the Year candidate will be out for the 4 weeks. I guess that's almost 3 weeks right now because this news was uh, shared to us like few days ago. So for Roto format owners, I guess you shouldn't drop Lamelo. He'll still contribute. Even in 9 cat, depending on your playoff week, maybe he could like uh, help you out during the playoff. So as long as you have IL, please don't drop Lamelo ball. It's Hayward time, but we haven't seen it. In his first game, he really played well, but after that, he's playing well, so. So I guess Hayward should be a buy low, a really good buy low. Why? Just because Charlotte Hornets is actually one of those teams that would definitely be involved in the play-in. So we have this play-in tournament that will take place before the game one of the playoffs. So after the regular season. So with that said, I'm expecting a lot from Gordon Hayward. I'm expecting Hornets to like really play hard and be in that 7 to 10 place in the East. So if you have a chance, please buy low for Hayward. I'm expecting a better game from him moving forward. Is PG the center of of the future? Because um, when Cody went down, they went back to PJ as their center. They were successful actually before Cody got back from injury. But the moment that Cody went back, PJ went back to playing the four. But now PJ is already playing a lot of minutes in the five. PJ's value is somehow, locked into that. He plays better. He provides better fantasy stats when he plays the center. So if this sticks, this is a good news for PG because he's like roaming around top 50 value. But if somehow Charlotte acquired someone from free agency, that will definitely hurt PJ. And this goes as well with Cody and Biombo. But well, at the moment, let's ride the wave. Let's ride the wave because PG is playing really good, and I hope he sticks as their center. So just want to add as well. As long as Lamelo is out, Monk will have value. Terry Rozier, I think, is probably their best player as of the moment. Probably not Hayward, not yet, but Rozier is playing pretty well, and of course, Devontae Graham will, bounce back as long as he gets minutes. For the Chicago Bulls, this is one of the big swing last trade deadline. So Vucevic is now a Chicago Bull. This goes as well with Alfaro Camino and then Daniel Perez. So let me highlight only those like significant players. So what does this do in their rotation? So definitely, Vuce will somehow get a hit. But personally, I think it might go back to how it was before, just because Chicago Bulls, remember, is trying to make Wendell Carter Jr. sort of like the Vooch of the Vooch version. Remember, they wanted to make or to let Wendell Carter Jr. shoot a lot of times, but it didn't work well. They were planning to let the game or the plays come through the center as well because he has some playmaking skills, but it didn't work well as well. So with the Vooch now anchoring the center, I guess that will work well. So it was evident in the first game of the Chicago Bulls, a little rusty, a little in unfamiliarity with the team. But moving forward, I definitely think Butch will get back to his value. Probably not that uh, almost fringe first rounder value, but who knows? I still think there's not much of a change because when he was playing in Orlando, he also got a lot of scorers in the team. And for the Chicago Bulls, he only got what, Lavine and maybe White and Laurie as the prime scorers. So it should almost be the same. Someone that will get impacted is, well, Laurie and Uncle Todd, just because they've been anchoring the front court for quite some time. And now with Wooch around, he will definitely get all of the usage in the front court. I still think Todd will have a role just because he is arguably the third best player in the Chicago Bulls. So I would say probably Vooch, Lavine, and then probably Tad Young. But you know, Chicago Bulls is also one of those teams that wants to go within the playoff. They are currently, I guess, in the 10th seed. So they will go hard. With this acquisition, they will definitely try the rest. So I'm expecting Tad to still play because he plays better. Better than a lot of players in the Chicago Bulls. So stick with that. Don't drop him yet. For Laurie, I don't know what happened to Laurie. He's just a scorer now. The rebounds will go down probably. He doesn't have any defensive stats anyway. So points and snipes are his value. So he definitely took hit when Wooch came. And maybe Alfaro Camino will play sometimes more just because of probably defense and some veteran presence. So that should impact Lori as well. Now for Sato versus Kobe, when I'm trying to think of it, with Levine possibly playing more as a 1-2 guy, they might need Kobe more somehow, just because they already have Vooch and the place will come of Vucevic. So I was thinking that, but still on a vacuum, Satoransky is better than Kobe White. So in the first game, Kobe White already played more than Satoransky. I don't know if it's just like a matchup adjustment, but this is something that we should definitely monitor because with Vooch around and getting those dimes and handling those playmaking chores, Satoransky's value might go down a little bit, but let's see. Because Satoransky is a better defensive player than Kobe White. For the Cleveland Cavaliers, D Wade. So this is not the Dwayne Wade that we are expecting, but he has been playing better every time. The moment that any player sits, he really plays better. Or among all of the available young guns in the Cleveland, he's the one emerging. So for deep leagues, I think you need to add Dean Wade. I don't know what happened to Osman, but maybe down the line they let these young guns play with Okoro and Windler. So let's see. But as of the moment, he's really kind of hot. So you should add him in deep leagues. We're getting a lot of nans just because McGee is out and Love is out. So with that said, all those weeks that we've stashed Larry Nance really paid off. So I hope you did stash Larry Nance. And they actually got something out of those trades. So McGee is out, but Hartenstein is now a Cavalier. I like this dude. I really didn't thought that Denver would let him go. I think he is a good backup center and maybe a good starting center once he is get some development in his back. But this is a good and a very young uh, tandem for Cavaliers. They have Pro and Hartenstein. So Cavs is really doing a good job. Aside for that APJ incident, so Dallas Mavericks, so they got JJ and Melly. So this just shows how big of a hole Seth Curry left when he got traded. So Apparently, Josh Richardson couldn't feel that. Tim Hardaway couldn't feel that. So that's JJ's role now. I'm expecting him to play good minutes, maybe not big minutes, but better minutes, especially that Tim Hardaway and Josh Richardson are sort of like on and off guys. So and Bronson is not really known for his shooting. So percentage wise, I guess JJ is the best shooter among those players. So I'm expecting him to play more, especially that they wanted to try a new system in preparation of the playoffs. Again, Dallas is one of those teams that is eventually sort of projected to play in the play-in of the NBA seeding. So I guess at some point Dallas will really go full throttle. So with that said, KP and Luke is somehow resting. I think this is strategy that most playoff teams will do, but they aren't in the best place to do that yet. So I'm expecting this will mellow down as week goes, but as long as they get a clearer picture, they this might go back. But I mean, playing in the play-in tournament is really a hassle. So I don't think Dallas would want that unless they are the 10th seed. So they should really try to be the top within the top six if they can, because playing in the tournament really is a risk, especially to a team that has only two main man putting their team in their back. So that's what I think. And with that said, I also think that they could do a buyout move. Maybe Cousins. They really need some help in the front court. It's kind of working well in the past weeks, but I don't think they wanted to, risk KP again. I don't think KP is that 100% like before. He isn't playing defense like before. So that's my take on KP. He's really playing awkward on defense in some time. So I don't think he's super comfortable in like defending the way he defended before, wherein he really like challenge every possession from the opponent. But maybe it's also because he's a better and wiser player now. So usually those player that is great in blocking tends to be that way. So we've already saw that with Ibaka, who while he becomes a veteran, he really doesn't contest uh shots anymore. So probably it's something that we realized or the Dallas strategized. But it just means that they really need someone to be their defender. I'm not sure if they trust Kleber to be that guy or maybe Kalistine. So let's see. Denver Nuggets, the Aaron Gordon effect. So this is one of the big trades a few days ago. So personally, I think Aaron Gordon will definitely take a hit. His value is anchored more with his playmaking stats. So those out of position dimes really contributes a lot. He's not an efficient scorer. He's not a good defender. I mean, he's a decent defender, but he was never known for that. But Denver might need him to be that kind of a player. Again, almost similar to other players. Sometimes players really plays well because of the change of scenery. So maybe this would be the same for Aaron Gordon. I'm expecting that to be because I mean he should be the happiest now because he's playing more of uh playing in Orlando and being with a mediocre team is a really big difference for playing in Denver alongside a winning team with Jokic and Murray. So Aaron Gordon should be super hyped and should really play better. It doesn't mean he'll play like better, meaning like a top 50 value. I don't think so. Because Jokic is doing the playmaking chores. As you can see or observe, Jamal Murray is getting a lot of dimes. So he's also playing the playmaking chores. When they both sit, they always let Will Barton handle the ball. They also have Campazzo. They also have Morris. So I don't know how would Aaron Gordon uh, get those playmaking chores. Maybe he'll get minutes away from Faku and Morris, maybe away from Barton. But Barton is the prodigal son of Malone, so I'm not sure about that. But Aaron Gordon's value will take a hit. Let's observe, but I'm expecting that. But there's a lot of role players in Denver that he could take away minutes from. So we have Uncle Paul Millsap, you have Jamichael Green, so he'll definitely take away minutes from that. Maybe some for from MPJ and Barton, but remember Gary Harris is also out. So probably I don't think Aaron Gordon will get all of the Gary Harris minutes because Gary Harris is usually plays in the four. I still think that Aaron Gordon is sort of the replacement for Jeremy Grant. So that's the case. So let's see. I'm not sure if he is a firm hold, but let's give him like 2 to 3 games. But there's a big chance he's borderline droppable. So apparently everybody wants Jovel because he really played well. He is a veteran. He's a champion. So with this acquisition, I guess again, Denver is one of those teams that will go all in. I understand usually those playoff teams always go all in, but it's a kind of a different story this season. The whole COVID playoff, the play-in format, those stars getting injured. This really gives more window for the teams like Denver to really strike hard. So I understand this move, and Jabel will definitely help Jokic to get enough rest and beef off the front court defense for the Denver Nuggets. And lastly, Jokic is the MVP for now because Embiid will be back. Dame is playing well. LBG will be back. Giannis is running for it. Donovan is running for it. So it's kind of weird that Jokic haven't established himself yet, given that he's been playing an MVP season since the start, and he doesn't, he's not getting enough love from the mainstream media. In fantasy, he's up there with James Harden. But you know, well, this is just me giving support to Jokic. I think he should be the MVP unless some drastic changes or progress will happen to the likes of Embiid or LeBron. Detroit Pistons. Killian Hayes will term. If you have Killian Hayes in the waiver and you have an IL spot, I would suggest to add him and just see what happens. But Detroit will definitely want to see how Killian Hayes progress. He still has a few more weeks to develop and experience the NBA. So he'll definitely do that. So what is this imply? Delon is out of the Detroit Pistons. As of now, Dennis Smith Jr. is a must add. Probably Diallo too, or Josh Jackson will get more minutes as well. But when Killian Hayes comes back, he'll definitely get all of the point guard minutes as much as he can. So that's the case. So watch out for Killian Hayes. I don't expect him to be like that super wonder rookie of the year because he has an underwhelming play in the initial part of the season. So, but he should play better. I know he is better than that. Plumlee is still legit just because he wasn't dealt. So I guess Detroit really want Plumlee to stay. They really are banking on Plumlee, and Plumlee is really playing his career season. So still legit. He's still providing stats. He's still winning games for DFS. So I guess stick with Plumlee. Don't undermine him. I might be wrong, but I'm not expecting him to sit. They're playing Stewart and Plumlee at 4 and 5. So that's kind of weird, but they're doing that. So with that said, they both get those minutes. So this is fun for Plumlee owners. So hold on tight. Jeremy's injury. Um, let's pray that this is not like the SGA approach of Detroit. He should still play. He should still play. I mean, Jeremy went to Detroit to play, to be the one of the founding players of Detroit. That's his plan. That's what he wants. So if he wants that, I guess he should still play, but probably have this back-to-back rest. So Jeremy Grant's owner, if you're afraid of that, again, I am someone who really encourage you to, you know, be smart and know how you personally adjust with this stuff when you're trying to, or you're being angry, or your game isn't going well when you see someone sitting down. Maybe it's time for you to trade Jeremy Grant. As long as you get enough value, I'm okay with that. But if you're selling low, I won't suggest that, because I still believe that Jeremy should still play enough games for him to be within probably top 50 or even top 30. Golden State Warriors, every Curry owners are panicking right now. I don't think he will get shut down. Golden State are still in the verge of making the playoffs, so they need Curry really, really bad. As long as he's healthy, he'll definitely play. It's a bad news that he needs another week to, rest and get stuff done, but he will definitely play. Wiggins, on the other hand, is on a tear. Also, I think he's sell high. So if you have Wiggins, as long as Curry is out, he'll definitely be one of the prime scorer, or definitely be the main scorer of the Golden State Warriors. So while he's doing that, try to get the value out of him while the trade deadline is still open for most of the fantasy leagues. So that's that. Because once Curry is back, Wiggins will go down to earth, and most of the time will get his value out of those out of position blocks. Because he hasn't been, I mean, points leagues, he's definitely contributing a lot. But in 9 cat, there are weeks that the percentages aren't there if he isn't getting those points and those blocks. He's like doing nothing. So that's that. Again, with Curry out, there's usage that they're getting distributed among the players. So one of the beneficiaries is Weissman, but I still think he'll definitely get unleashed, because it's a double purpose. Golden State needs help, and Golden State needs to develop their priced rookie. So they, instead of drafting Lamelo Ball, they really wanted Weissman. So they will stick to that. Kerr has been talking a lot of Wiseman, talking a lot of unleashing Wiseman. So let's trust Kerr. The Houston Rockets, they finally Oladipo was traded for, I can't say nothing, but Houston didn't do very well, but they really tried to get those picks. Unfortunately, the picks aren't pretty nice. So, that's what happened when the manage didn't exist pretty well with their GMs and their players. So I guess that Mori and Fertitta thing really went bad. With that said, surprisingly, Wall wants to play. He played back to back in the past days, so I'm still expecting Rockets to be pretty cautious, because once he gets injured, he'll definitely lose value, and Rockets will be one of the most what can you call them, a team that wasn't managed well, and people will remember that, because James Harden is a very well known player. So Houston don't want that. So at some point in time, Wall will get tested. But what does this mean? It means KPJ will all the way play for the Houston Rockets. I've been saying this, that we should buy KPJ the moment that he got injured. Thing is, KPJ is sort of like an injury prone player. So with that said, you should also look at Deshaun Tate as one of the mass ads. Uh, SGA went down. I recently suggested, while KBJ wasn't playing, to trade your SGA for KPJ. I was forcing you to do that, but I guess the window is now shut. So let's just watch KBJ do his thing, because he'll be definitely doing it more in the upcoming weeks. One of their prime acquisition is Kelly Olynyk. So somehow this really is kills Kenyon Martin's value, but um, probably Wood won't play always. He'll definitely sit those back to backs. They definitely also want to see Kelly, what they can get from Kelly. Is he someone that they should, like, hold and be that veteran presence while they're rebuilding? Maybe, or probably he can play four, he can play five. So with he can actually play four when while allowing Kenyon Martin play. I mean, he can actually play five while allowing Kenyon Martin play four. And somehow Kelly Olynyk is now sort of like a handcuff for Christian Wood. So for me, in even in just one game of good providing good stats, he's already a must add in deep leagues. In standard, for me, he's one of sort of like a low key handcuff player for Christian Wood, because everyone's kind of cautious about Christian Wood's rest. I don't think he will rest, but still, uh, we need to be more, or to do a move to be more sure. So probably Kelly would be the best move to handle the Wood situation. Indiana Pacers. Apparently, Indy loves Levert. He's getting a lot of usage. He's now matching the number of attempts for with Sabonis and Brogdon. So I wasn't expecting that, but that's what's happening. So points league, definitely Levert is one of the hottest thing in nine cat. Somehow he's killing you in the field goal percentages. So watch out for that. I could still see myself selling high on Levert and getting more valuable player. TJ is also playing well and getting that backcourt role, a very very solid backcourt role. He's a baller. So hold on tight for TJ. Don't drop him. And Miles freaking Turner. He's really on a mission. I guess it doesn't matter if he gets the shots as long as he gets the blocks. So happy for this progress, and I guess he's back. So he wasn't playing that very well in the past week. So with the past seven blocks, this really is something that the owners would love to see more. For Los Angeles Clippers, they got playoff Rondo. Terrence Mann is one of the happiest player because he just show an NBA card of playoff Rondo, right? So I guess now Rondo will have an NBA card of Terrence Mann because my man is playing really, really well. So what could we expect from Rondo? Um, Clippers is kind of stuck in terms of role players. They really wanted a pass first point guard for the longest time. So I think they will give Rondo playing time in the upcoming days. They really want him to get comfortable with the system, with the plays before the playoffs. So they'll definitely do that. But still, it's just hard because now it's quite easy because Pat Beverly is out. But once Beverly is in, it's gonna be a mess. So Lou has a very very hard job to do in the upcoming days in terms of rotation because Terrence Mann is really really playing well. Batum is a good player. Morris plays well. Arjax somehow played well in the past games too. So let's definitely monitor these rotations. But deep leagues, I would have a speculative ad for Rondo if you need dimes. Man as well, because as long as Beverly is out, Man will definitely play his hearts out. Speaking of players that are out, apparently Serge Ibaka doesn't have a timeline. So with that said, add all the Zubac in your free agents. Moses Malone has overshadowed Zubac, but actually Zubac is playing very, very well in the past games in terms of nine cat. He doesn't have a popping stats that will like stand out among the free agents, but he's a really good player. Actually, if you're a fan of good plays, Zubac has been playing the best center among all the centers that played in Los Angeles Clippers the whole season. So he's playing better than Serge Ibaka was playing when he wasn't hurt. So that's how good Zubac is. Will this stick? That's the biggest question. It's been the longest time that I want Zubac to be their main center, but I guess it's happening now, hopefully. But let's not take away Serge Ibaka's resume yet, because they really want Serge Ibaka to play as well. He's a vet. Kawhi loves him, so he'll definitely get those minutes. I hope it sticks around 20 minutes to have to pave way for Zubac to get more minutes, right? But as of the moment, Zubac owner should be happy. Los Angeles Lakers, so they will sign Dre as soon as they can. Um, Dre will definitely get a lot of value there while Anthony Davis is out. This impacts Harrell. So if you can sell Harrell, sell them now. Um, we have one more month away from AD, so that's a lot of weeks for Andre Drummond. So if you've traded for Andre Drummond for like a cheap value, it really paid out, because Andre Drummond will definitely have a lot of good games in the upcoming weeks. LBJ's rest of the season, I still think he wants to win the MVP. I still think he wants to be to get those championship as well as the crown for the MVP, same as how other greats did even in an NBA format. So Brady did that. So I guess maybe if he can, he will still try to have a run for the MVP as long as he's healthy. But the moment that the Lakers tells him that it really won't happen, it really won't work based on his health, he's a smart guy. But this is just me thinking that he's a freak of nature. As long as he has gas, he'll definitely play hard. So probably for LBJ owners, you can't do anything now. Just stick with him. I hope you have an IL, because if not, you're having a really bad week in the past. So you have to, trade him. Probably sell low in some cases, especially if you really need to win. For the Memphis Grizzlies, Triple J will be back again for the end time, but this time they've told us a specific date, which is April. So I hope this really happens. But this doesn't impact fantasy. I think he's droppable. But this impacts how Memphis wants to win. So I hope they will get into the playoff or play-in tournament and play well. And I hope Triple J is healthy. He'll still be eased in, and with Gorgie being out, I guess what this I've been saying this for the longest time. They really want Triple J to be their center of the future. Jonas might come off the bench. I don't know. Maybe he'll get dealt off season, but let's see. But as of the moment, they are really interested to see Triple J and Tillman on the court together, like the college days. Is Brooks better than Melton? I don't think so. But as long as Melton is not getting minutes, uh, well, Brooks will provide more value. Maybe at this point we need to drop Melton if he's hurting you. If you're on top, stick with Melton. He has a lot of upside, but if you're not, he's actually droppable. He needs minutes, at least 20 minutes, but he is not getting that. So, well, that's one of the reason why Melton couldn't be that fantasy player like Boucher or like Robert Williams, that are per minute monsters that couldn't have enough minutes. Free Saber Tillman for Dynasty Leagues. I'm actually interested with Saber Tillman. It's a long shot, but I think he doesn't have enough value to, he is really cheap now. So try to get Xavier Tillman. Miami Heat, Oladipo's impact. He's a great addition for the Miami Heat. I guess they didn't get Lamarcus Aldridge, so the usage will be there. All of the Avery Bradley's minutes will and Olenek's minutes might go to Oladipo as the first priority. He also gets the non minutes and might get some minutes from Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero as well. He'll definitely play because like what I've been saying earlier, playoff teams wants these new guys to get comfortable and play with the main guys in preparation of the playoffs. So they'll definitely do that with Oladipo as well. While Ariza and Belicha will definitely have some timeshare. In deep leagues, I would add both of them and see what happens because Ariza played a really solid game the other day, so it's really enticing. So he's a speculative ad as well as Belicha. They are now really have a hole in the BF position. So these two are extremely different. Ariza is playing more of that defense that usually Miami loves, and Belicia is sort of like the main scorer that can help other players if they're not playing well. So Belicia is more of a scorer type, facilitating type. He doesn't have enough defense to stay. So if I'll choose between two, I might choose Ariza. He is definitely well rested, so watch out for him. All of the hero owners should be somehow bothered because uh, Oladipo will really need some minutes. Goran will take a hit because he need to rest and Miami needs him. And probably Hero will do that as well. But every time Jimmy Butler doesn't play, Tyler Hero should maintain his value. For the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis for MVP. So this is me getting some storyline out of some of the players because this season is one of the most fun MVP races because we don't have a like long-standing MVP. So with that said, maybe Giannis want to get in the mix. He did a couple of back-to-back triple doubles, right? So maybe, just maybe, Whiteman can jump. Pat Connaughton. So he's been playing well in deep leagues. You should add him. He's really contributing. With DJ Augustin out, maybe he gets him and probably Drew could get those minutes. Especially Drew because they don't have enough point guard now. So Drew should really blossom as their primary point guard with DJ Agustin out. DiVincenzo also might get some boost. He's playing well compared to the past week. So this could continue. But nonetheless, if you can buy some Juru holidays, I don't know what's his value right now in your leagues. But if he's someone that is getting some underrated value, should try to buy some Juru holiday. Maybe package a Wiggins plus one to get Juru holiday because I'm expecting a lot from Juru holiday. Minnesota Timberwolves. So Beasley should be back and should tear the the house apart because he's one of the best scoring option of Minnesota. And apparently, Beasley is playing pretty well even with Carl Anthony Towns. So with that said, deploy all your Beasleys. Their coach is an offensive strategist, so Beasley will get enough touches to be that sort of mid value for fantasy. McDaniels is getting a lot of minutes compared before. So I hope this is a sign to free Jaden McDaniels. He's one of the targets in the trade deadline, but Minnesota doesn't want to deal McDaniels. So actually, Orlando wanted a swap for Aaron Gordon and McDaniels. So I hope, and this is an indication that Minnesota is really high for McDaniels. And actually, he's a really good player. To be honest, it's arguable that McDaniels has a better upside than Anthony Edwards. But you know, most of the people will still pick Ant. but because stats are nerds. But as much as you can see, even in reality, we just need to develop Jaden McDaniels. He's a really good player, both offensively and defensively. Maybe not yet offensively, but in deep leagues, especially those 20 team dips, you should add McDaniels. I guess you've already added him in the past weeks, but the past games are really good indicators. And lastly, for Mini, Cat is a top 5 player. I hope, well, knock on the wood. I just hope he rests just because I want a really good solid value next season. People will definitely not draft Cat, and he will have a really good value next season. If I were you, as every time you have a chance to get Cat after probably the top 5 picks, you should get him next season. Also in dynasty leagues, he's maybe buy low, but he's playing too well now. Maybe the window already shut. New Orleans Pelicans, big baller, Lonzo Ball stays. So what does this imply? Well, first off, Ball will still continue his amazing stat lines for quite some time. In the past weeks, he's really shooting well, very well. He There's dimes, there's steals, and I hope those steals and out of position blocks will come back because that's how Lonzo Ball got that top 30 value in s- almost couple of weeks last season. So I hope that comes back. But JJ Redick is gone. Despite Ball not going away, I still think Nickel Alexander Walker should have value. He'll definitely get all those JJ Redick minutes. So I hope that helps. So that gives him what, around 25 minutes of playing time. So yeah, why not? Eric Bledsoe, I don't know what they'll do with Eric Bledsoe. Maybe a buyout, probably. So, in super deep leagues, I will still stash Kira Lewis, and I won't drop Nickel Alexander Walker under further notice because it's really possible that they will buy out Bledsoe. As maybe Eric Bledsoe's agent talk to someone because there's still some teams that wants a solid guard. And Mount Zion is really playing well. So I'm just not one of those persons that are super hyped with Zion. I like him. I'm actually hyped him. I'm hyped with his performance, but not that super hype because we're playing fantasy, so we understand all of the categories, and he's really reigning in points and the field goal percentage category. But the kid needs to improve his defense. He's already improved his assist or playmaking arsenal because he's like that back in college. So once he is improved, those if those blocks comes back, he'll definitely be a first rounder type of a player in the future. So I hope that happens. But as of now, that those defensive stats aren't present yet consistently. New York Knicks, Mitch Robinson is out, so Nerlens time again. He should be added in all formats. This goes with Touch Gibson, surprisingly, in deep leagues because TVDO loves some Touch Gibson, so you should add him. There are instances where he plays 20 plus minutes and gets a lot of rebounds and blocks, so that could help. But Nerlens will definitely be one of the top players. But New York is eager to get a big steal, so they've been one of the prime candidates for Andre Drummond. So with Andre Drummond signing for the Lakers, maybe they'll try to get a big back. So if you have Nerlens Noel and you want to improve more and you love to speculate, try to sell kind of high for Nerlens Noel after few games, and because there's really a chance that New York will add a buyout candidate for their lineup, probably a big, maybe Demarcus Cousins, something like that. Alec Burks is standing up another sell high. He should still have value, but as long as T Rose is there, it's gonna be a problem for Alec Burks to continuously do this. While Barrett, on the other hand, is also hot. With that said, in points leagues, you should hold. If someone is really high for Barrett, I think you should still entertain that just because Barrett hasn't showed he can do this consistently for long weeks. He should because the opportunity is there, the skill is there. But if you're hurting with his percentages, and the deal is a good deal, so I would take that. But if not, it's still a good hold. But the thing is, as long as you have an opportunity to get some value, I would still also push that. OKC, oh my Moses is unleashed. So SGA, Baisley, and Uncle Al is now resting. So all the Moses should be added in all formats. This is not the, let's say, a different side of it is me telling you to sell high on Moses if you can. So I still expect a lot of great stats from Moses, really. But he's super hot to the point that maybe if you package him with probably another hot player like Andrew Wiggins, you can actually get a very, very solid player out of them. Maybe try to get a Julius Randle or a Gordon Hayward plus another good player. So I will still entertain that, especially if you don't want free throws and just you already have a great front court in your team. So try to be creative. Also, they got Bradley, Tony Bradley. They've already waived Austin Rivers a while ago, so I guess this is something that really concerns other managers. But for me, Moses just needs 25 minutes to 27 minutes to provide solid value. So even OKC might want to see what Bradley brings to the table. I still think Moses will have enough value. So that is why I want you to, be creative and try to check Moses' trade value in your leagues. Maybe you can get a lot away from Moses because he really had a big game in the past game. Orlando Magic, there's a new captain in town, Terrence Ross. When he's healthy, he'll definitely get all the shots that he can. But we also have a couple of juniors. So you have Otto Porter Jr. and Wendell Carter Jr. So with Vooch out, and Orlando has a thin front court, I guess Wendell Carter Jr. should get all of the minutes that he can play. Otto Porter Jr. could redeem himself. So those two are one of the biggest winner in the trade deadline, and for me are must adds. Cole Anthony, on the other hand, is kind of knocking in the door to return. So if you have an IL spot, try to add Cole Anthony because Orlando will definitely let loose, and maybe just maybe Clifford will give long leashes to these young guns. This is also applicable to RJ Hampton because they recently got Hampton. Hampton is a good potential player, young gun. He's been showing a lot of promise back in Denver, so I hope he'll get that chance in Orlando. So dynasty leagues and deep leagues, do a speculative ad with Hampton. Philadelphia 76ers, what's G Hill's role? So they recently acquired Grant Hill, George Hill, but well, Philly really wanted, similar to Clippers, Philly wanted to have that decent old school point guard presence in their team alongside Ben Simmons because Ben Simmons sometimes tend to not play so well for some reason. So maybe he's still young, but I mean he has a lot of years now in his resume. So I'm expecting a lot from him, but they need all the veteran presence they can to be on that strong or to have a strong playoff run. Because in the past seasons they've been always they always have been the top seeded team in the East, but really can't. get past the first round, so or second round. So yeah, George Hill will still get some minutes, maybe away from Milton, definitely Maxi and Isaiah Joe, maybe some from Seth Curry. So once he's healthy, they will try to see what would happen with the Philly system. MVP frontrunner, similar with Giannis and other MVP candidates, as long as Joel Embiid is back, I'm expecting him to be 100% and he'll play the way he played before. He's actually already practicing now with the team. And he will definitely try to win the MVP, knowing how uh, Embiid's personality is. The fact that they dealt Bradley, maybe it shows how healthy or how confident Philly is with Embiid's case. So all the Embiid owner, this could pay off. He should have a strong finish this season. And for Dynasty League basketball, Paul Reed is a low key ad because Bradley is gone and basketball Paul just won the Rookie of the Year and MVP in G League. I've been saying this since the acquisition in one of my episodes. He's like a Matisse Thybulle of the front court. So Philly is one of a heck agents there for getting some young guns. So they have now Simmons, they have Green, they have Thybulle, and they have Paul Reed. So future looks bright with Philly. And with Doc Rivers and Murray in the team, I guess they should do better compared to the past season. Phoenix Suns, Aiton is getting steam. Um, I hope I'm quite torn if we should sell high or buy low or get the opportunity to get some Aiton. But personally, I would still sell high. Just this is the point that if you're paying an average value to get some players, I would still stick to those players that has a clear role and has a better fantasy projection. But if you're paying cheap, I would go with upside. So with that said, I don't think you can easily get Aiton. So I would rather try to sell him and get better value than buy him. Point guard, this is someone that also can be bought because there are still managers that are afraid of shut down for CP3. Maybe because he's old, maybe because Phoenix is doing well. So try to get a chance and get some Chris Paul if you can, as long as the value is cheap. Mikal and Jay's role, they've been playing a lot better, which means Cam Johnson isn't playing a lot better. So as long as you have Mikal and Jay, I mean, speaking of Phoenix, they are really pretty good, especially in the wing defense. But in fantasy, Mikal is the one on the rise. Jay has been a solid streamer for quite some time. In deep leagues, he's definitely a mainstay, but in shallow leagues, as every time Phoenix plays and you need some dimes, I mean, snipes and some swipes, you can actually bank on Uncle Jay Crawford. Portland Blazers. So Norm the Storm is the new acquisition. For me, there's quite a difference between Portland and Toronto. So in Toronto, Norm is free to get all the usage as he can. In Portland, he might be because in the past game, Damian Lillard didn't play. But when Portland gets healthy, it's gonna be a different story. I still believe he's a better player than Gary Trent Jr. But um, he needs to take a lot of minutes away from Carmelo Anthony and probably Derek Jones Jr. to be or to get that value that he was getting in Toronto, which is quite hard to do. The fact that he's playing pretty well back in Toronto with all of the usage that he gets is already unsustainable. So he'll definitely get a hit, but still be that mid carder player in Portland. So don't drop him. Stick with Norm the Storm. He'll definitely provide value. Just watch out with Derek Jones Jr., Carmelo Anthony, and this also kills probably and Fernie Simmons minutes and maybe Nasir Little's minutes. So um, Portland are high on Norm the Storm. Maybe they'll let they just go all out offense compared to defense. Nurk is back. Don't drop uh, yet Enes Kanter because they will ease in Nurk, but I'm hoping Nurk will play better, almost similar on what we expect him to play. I was praying for that, and I'm still hoping for that. I guess it's kind of different now. Portland is doing a great job. Nurk's injury wasn't that big, and he stayed healthy for a while, so he should play better actually. If you can buy low on Nurk, I'll do that. CJ's role. So this is kind of weird because I was thinking he couldn't sustain that first round player for CJ this season. So he started this season pretty hot. But so here's the deal. Um Portland will definitely try to rest Damian Lillard sometime because he's been, carrying Portland for a while. Dame is one of the MVP front runners, so I expect him to still play his best when he plays. But I'm also expect him to get east. So maybe when Portland is, on top or playing well in games, he might sit in the fourth quarter or something like that. They don't want because Lillard had an injury, remember, in the playoffs last season. So they don't want that to happen again. So they're still trying to be cautious, especially with Norm Powell now in the Portland Blazers. Well, that's my speculation, but let's see. Doesn't impact Lillard by any means, but it's something to monitor. Sacramento Kings, Dillon's role. So it's still fishy. I don't know what happens to Dillon. Definitely takes a hit, borderline drop a ball. But if he somehow curves up, his value mostly comes with efficiency, steals, assists, and couple of snipes. So if he can get 25 minutes, he's still rosterable. But other than that, if you have like Moses Malone in the free agent and Dillon's one of your fringe guys, I'll do that swap. Swipe is playing well, so um, as long as you're punting free throws, I guess it's cool. But should we sell high on Swipa? The question is, who would you get? If you'll get, um, I would rather get or do a 2:2 trade if you're dealing with Swipa because he doesn't have that name recall yet. So maybe try to trade Swipa plus your weakest player and get maybe OG and Hayward, something like that. Because OG will definitely be one of those top targets soon. Should we hold on Whiteside? Nah. He's playing well, so that's already his value. So that's my explanation. Holding while him playing is a good idea, but if you really wanted to win and there's a really hot free agent, so for example, Terrence Ross, Wendell Carter Jr., someone like that, I would rather have them over Whiteside. San Antonio Spurs. So uh, I'm a fan of San Antonio. I guess D White will definitely play better in the next weeks. Buy low on D White. All of D White owners are frustrated. They are non-believers of the Spurs. They still think the Spurs doesn't provide enough fantasy value. I really don't agree with that. You can see that the Spurs players are really providing solid stats. It's just that people are just overvaluing the likes of DeJounte Murray and maybe DeMar DeRozan. So that's the reason why they're frustrated. The thing that they should do is try to understand what the real value is. If you're any player, if you overvalue them and they don't play well, of course you'll get frustrated. So that's the thing with D White. Now that they are undervaluing them, that now is the time or best time to strike and get some D White stocks. Project Dieng. So I'm happy that Spurs got Dieng because Dieng is a really really good player and a fantasy beast when he plays. So it's really something to monitor. How will Dieng impact Pirtle's value. I also think that the Spurs will try to get Chris as well. Maybe something similar to how Lakers did with Cousins before. So they've waived them, and then in the summer they also got them back. So they really wanted to get try to develop these bigs, because that's one of the prime hole of the San Antonio Spurs, especially when LMA is already gone in the team. And lastly, one of my favorite Spurs, Luka Samanic. So for deep leagues, super deep, and probably in dynasty, you should watch out for Luka. He's a really good player, especially in G League. It's just about his confidence. He's not confident in the past seasons when Pop is trying to play him. So now he's quite confident. His aura is different. His vibe is different. So I'm expecting a lot from Luka Samanic. They needed that uh, solid four that can shoot outside. Toronto Raptors, best Raptor of all time. Is it Kyle Lowry or is it Vince Carter? I don't know. But Lowry stays. So that's that. He will still play the primary role in Toronto Raptors. Um, it won't impact a lot. It will just stay the same. So let's talk about Gary Trent's role. So Gary Trent's role, like what I've said with Norman Powell, it's quite different with Toronto and Portland. But even though he'll get the as much as usage he can in Toronto, he isn't that type of a player like Norman Powell who stands out when everybody sits. He's sort of like a 3 and D guy for now. For now, he can improve, of course. But what I can see in his game is like at at, at, at at the top of his game, he's a solid 3 and D guy. So with that said, he'll still have that value, probably a better value the way he was playing back in Portland when CJ was out, somewhat a better version of that. So that's what I'm expecting with Gary Trent Jr. And also, Toronto is playing super small, and they are playing Siakam at the five. So yeah, so it means more minutes for Gary Trent Jr. And speaking of playing small, it actually impacts Boucher. So a lot of Boucher managers wanted to get rid of Boucher. It's sort of like drop Boucher and add Moses. If that's the case, everyone who drops Boucher, all of other managers, please add Boucher. So here's the deal: if you can get a player that could provide a easily top 20 value, then let me know, because I don't think you can find that player in free agency easily at this point. So Boucher is that player. I know it's been frustrating and it's not looking good with Boucher, but I'll still stick with Boucher. Unless he's the weakest player of your team and you really need to stream, and there's a super hot free agent, I would definitely understand that. But other than that, I would still stick with the water boy. Utah Jazz. Donovan should be in the MVP race. Utah is playing the best basketball of their life in the recent years. I guess in the past game we're in, Utah is on top, like what, 20 points around third quarter, but still Donovan played. It just means that somehow Utah wants those awards. MVP consideration for Donovan, 6 months for Jordan Clarkson, and defensive player for Rudy Gobert. And definitely the championship for the whole Utah Jazz team. So I'm sticking on that storyline, and all systems go for Donovan Mitchell. Kabayan Jordan, there was a window for buy low. I think it's kind of closed now, but if you can, because he's not playing well, in the past game. So if you can, try to buy some Jordan Clarkson. I think when Utah gets enough wins, they might like to be cautious for Mike Conley, because Mike Conley is really important to them. We've seen Conley sit for a couple of games, and that might continue. So it will definitely boost Jordan Clarkson's value. And lastly, Iceman Matt Thomas, a low key acquisition for the Utah Jazz. He's a straight up good shooter. I think he might outshoot the likes of Duncan Robinson. To be honest, he's really good. So for dynasty leagues, if you have slot, you can get Iceman because he might have a decent role maybe in the upcoming 3 years. Last team, Washington Wizards. Uh, Bill stayed, but he got injured. So let's monitor what he does. But looking at it, the fact that they didn't trade Bill or Westbrook or anyone, it means that they want to have a run for the play-in. I'm not sure if they can because they are sitting in number 13 of the Eastern standings. But if that's the case, if Bill's injury is something that needs some rest, then Westbrook might be all in, and you might get a lot of value from Westbrook and also Denny Avdia. So those are the players that to watch out. While on the other hand, they've traded Mo Wagner. Um, I wasn't able to talk about Mo Wagner earlier with Boston because I don't think he would carve a role in Boston, but in Washington, Gafford is a different case. So different case in a sense that if Washington needs defense, they might need Gafford to play more. But it's arguable that Mo Wagner is a better player than Gafford. So if that's the case, if it's just a straight forward swap, then definitely Gafford will just play the same minutes as Mo Wagner is playing. Also, for some reason, Washington Wizards center has a pretty weird, Russian roulette type of playing time. So don't expect too much for Gafford. Upside picture, why not? But aside from deep leagues, I don't see myself getting some Gafford. But I'll still monitor in the next upcoming games if he'll have more playing time than Rolo or Alex Len. But for now, if you need blocks, he's a good streamer. But other than that, I would like to monitor more. So yeah, that's it. We got all the 30 teams. It's been an hour or and 20 minutes. So thank you so much for listening. If you got yourself checking out this episode, so this is kind of like my sort of gift to some acquaintances in the Facebook community. So uh, my good friend Mr. Lasso there and Justin from other FB groups. So shout out to you. So this is my sort of like a promise for quite some time to create in English content for probably for you guys and your members to check out, and hopefully you find some good information, and this could help you, be better in fantasy and probably win. So thank you so much, guys. Like, subscribe, follow, share, comment. We're available on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, and Stitcher. This is your fantasy papi, Papi Roy, and have a great fantasy moving forward. And I hope you win. Bye bye.